I'm so hungry.
There we go.
What
And
do
we're
we? What
recording
do
Pro
we?
Survivor Season 17, Sinister's Rites of Passage.
Nice.
With
Now
our
we,
final four.
now we talk about how we were either part of or not part of the previous 14 people's demise.
I know.
So
it's
Dustin,
kinda-
you've got the list. Who's up
Wait,
first?
wait. Are we gonna?
Okay.
Wait. Are we gonna like flash the people who are eliminated, like their photos?
Yeah, I'll flash their pro board picture on my phone or something.
Yeah. Go. 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 Go.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So first
Oh
up,
my God! It's like
we have
it's
the
like an
first-
obituary.
we have the first queen, Jezzy.
That's
Jill.
definitely Jill.
No, that's
Oh,
Jill.
Second,
Oh,
that's
no,
the
fucking
second time I've
already.
called her the wrong name. 'Cause I remember when we played the Jackbox, I accidentally said a passive aggressive comment about who I meant to be Jill, but I accidentally put Jezzy down, and I was like, fuck. Okay, redo. We have Queen Jill.
Wait,
There
there
we
we
go.
go.
There she
Hey.
is.
Okay.
I don't think any of us got to interact with Jill, right?
I wasn't there for it, so I'm not sure. I mean,
Nope. From what I've heard about her, she was pretty inactive, but it would have been fun to get to know her.
yeah, she had some technical challenges on trying to figure out how to get this all up and running and everything. So
Yeah, she
I don't know if we have the chance to get to know her.
she swapped me. Tasha made like a tentative final three with her and Tasha, but it's because they knew each other priorly. But obviously, Tasha and Jill didn't make it very far.
No.
So yeah, she was pretty cool. She swapped me, and that's all about. That's about
Yeah,
it.
unfortunately, I don't think any of us have anything to really say about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, our next queen.
I only know. I only know Jill from AJ's confessional, so I don't have anything to say to her.
Our next queen is Queen Nancy.
Hey.
Oh, Nancy.
Eh.
Nancy. I mean, Nancy was sweet. She was just super quiet. Like during the first couple of days. I know that she had stuff going on, but it was the few interactions that I did have with her, she was really nice. But when it came down to it, it was the options for us at that time were her or Callum to go home that round. And Callum managed to like talk to people and get everything up and running. And like Nancy was kind of just like not even around very much. So she was nice. I hope to run into her again and maybe do another game with her at some point. But yeah, that was all about her.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I never actually interacted with Nancy.
Yeah.
I interacted with her with less than Jill, actually, just because Nancy didn't swap me or anything. So
Yeah, when Nancy when she swapped Ben and Sean that round when she went.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next we have
Oh,
Callum.
Callum.
Yeah.
Oh, I have I think when we swapped and we met, and I met Callum, I really wanted to get to know him because he's from the UK, and I just thought that was so cool. But he wasn't that inactive, and then that was the first round that we had to deal with the pick an option A or option B vote, and I was like, I don't know what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, by the fate of the wheel, Callum ended up being the unfortunate victim that round.
Yeah. Callum wasn't just really that active when he was like swapped. Like when we were in a swapped phase, and that's the only time that we get to interact. But yeah, that's the reason why he went out. It's because like normally when you swap to a new tribe, you become like more active than usual because you get to be with people who you don't know yet. But like in Callum's case, it just didn't happen. So
yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
I
he's nice.
Callum is actually one of my good org friends outside of the game. I've known Callum for like almost a year, and this is probably our 4th or 5th game together. I love him to death. He is batshit crazy. Dustin knows him too, you know.
If
He's
you
good people, he's just crazy, and I love him for it.
if you ever play orgs, there's a 90% chance Callum will be there, just because he plays like probably up to 10 orgs at a time. So
Yeah.
anytime I play,
that's the reason.
anytime
That's
I
the
play,
reason why he was inactive here.
Yeah.
It's because maybe he's playing other org.
exactly. He's always in a million orgs, and I think he should reduce himself down to maybe 1 or 2 at a time, because it might be easier for him to be a little bit more active, especially with the time zone. But yeah, I just know I've seen him evicted from at least like 5 games in the past month, so I know he plays a lot of orgs.
I mean, when he is in a
because-
game and he's got his head screwed on straight, he can be a really good player. But sometimes he's either just like too many things going on at the same time, or just having a moment, and it makes it difficult for him.
I don't think it's the time zone, because UK is like, I mean, the UK time zone is in the middle, so it's not really that much of an issue. Unlike me, who's like extreme, you know, like when it's evening there, it's like morning here. So I do not think that that's the case. Maybe it's the reason. Like, I do think that he's just playing another org. That's the reason.
Exactly. Next up, we have Queen Tasha.
Tasha.
Oh, Queen Tasha.
I love Tasha. She was probably the person I was closest to coming into this game, and I remember her. She really wanted to go far with me, and I believe that. But I know she was a little bit of a leaker here and there, but that's okay. I forgive her for everything she did for that. I really like her. We played BBMS together before, and we help each other with loved one challenges. I actually asked production. I was like, "Can she be my loved one?" And they're like, "No, it's only people that can't be in this season." But I thought it would have been iconic if Tasha came back for a round or so.
That would be fabulous, yeah.
But that was the only people that weren't allowed were people that played this season. So, but I was hoping that she was able to, but they didn't allow it. So.
Yeah, and this meeting Tasha the first time around, I was really excited with her. And it's sad that we didn't get to like meet back up again after the swap.
Yeah.
Because I felt like she had a lot of personality, a lot of game to be played, and I think she would have been like a rock star in the game if she was able to not get idled out.
I know, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like when Tasha was eliminated, like that's the time that I have like a wake up call in the game that like, hey, like even the strongest players can be like eliminated, like pre-merge. So that's the time that I, like get my boots up and really like play.
So for us, I literally, Tasha got onto the tribe. We got swapped onto the tribe together literally the weekend that she moved. And she had so much going on, like moving halfway across the country, new job and everything like that. And she was like Callum for us. She was the victim of the AB vote for us. The choices were her or Travis. Actually, we tried to get Travis out that round. But it just didn't work out that way. And that was the round that there were votes all over the place because at least 2 or 3 of us had given away our votes. So like somebody else had my vote, but I ended up getting, I think I had Lisa's vote that round, and at least like one other person. And the round that Callum went out, actually, I had Callum's vote that round.
Oh, who'd you vote for?
I honestly don't remember. I really don't remember who I voted for. I'd go back and look, but but no, that was when Tasha went home. She was the victim of the AB vote for our tribe that round, and we hated that because it was like we kind of really wanted Travis to go home, but we had to give another name, and she was kind of inactive in very important reasons, but she just didn't have any relationships with other people really at that point.
What a different game this would have been if that ended up working out.
If that had gone differently, yes,
Yeah.
I think it would have been a very different game.
All right,
Yeah.
next we have Chaos Sean.
Sean.
Aw.
Ah.
I never got to
Sean
meet
is
Sean, so I'm like, what works?
So Sean, basically, that round I was really trying to get Cody out, and Sean, I don't know if Sean thought I led the vote or not, but I didn't. I got the handprint from him, and Sean and I barely talked, but for like the last hour we did talk, and I was like, listen, I'm saving you. I was like, just keep calm. I was like, please don't, like, if you have my vote, because I had Sean's vote, I was pretty sure, and I'm like, you have my vote, don't use it against me. And but we all know how that ended up for him. I don't know if he actually even had a vote. I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe Cody had both, but yeah. So I think about Sean.
I didn't have that much interaction and engagement with Sean, and I wanted to save Sean. I would have been nice, but I was also just too nervous about Cody and being like Lauren Rimmerd and everything like that, because I was like, if Cody suspects anything, then who's he gonna vote for? Why would he wait on Sean? It was just such a nightmare, and I think there were probably other people as well that was like, oh, I don't know, because I think that was the first time we came together to really vote. So I think we were going for like a big move, but not establishing like the trust amongst each other, which probably like flubbed that. Maybe if we had the opportunity to vote together as a new collective prior, maybe things are different. But Sean was very, very nice, and even after the game,
Yeah.
you know, he only spoke very highly of all of us.
Yeah,
so
he was very sweet.
Yeah, he's so sweet. Yeah, Sean is such a sweet person. It's just that, you know, like the alliances, like in our, you know, like in our original tribe has been established, like from the get-go, and it's just that he's from the outside of that alliance. That's why he went on that route. So yeah. Have we been to the merge? I do think that he's someone to watch out for. You know what I mean? Just because we don't know where his head's at, we don't know who he's really like aligned with. So yeah, I do think that if Sean is here in the merge, like it will be a much unpredictable game.
Definitely. All right, next we have AJ.
Karen, don't cry.
You're showman. It's your only chance for a showman.
No. Yeah, I do think that if AJ is here, like Cody will be out of the game like earlier.
Yeah.
Like maybe round 2 of the merge or round 3 of the merge, just
Exactly.
because there will be like a strong force against him, you know.
Getting
Yeah.
to know both Cody and AJ when they were both on opposite tribes, it was clear that they were targeting each other because both of them would blame each other for having the idol. And I did have a feeling it was more so Cody than AJ, just because I guess I got to know AJ a little bit better than Cody, and I just felt like AJ wouldn't lie to me about that at that time. So I was pretty sure Cody had it. And so when AJ left, that was a pretty big bummer because I definitely wanted AJ here for the Cody route, but who knew that would have happened much later.
I really like wanted AJ here just because so that like, you know, there's a man here in the merge. Like I'm not, you know, like someone I can interact with, not with like, you know, like the gay stuff and all. Yeah, and he's just, I don't know with you guys, but he's like sweet. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, AJ was really, really nice. Like I would have loved to have worked with him further, and I honestly didn't expect him to be targeted.
Yeah,
when he swapped over.
I didn't expect him to be swapped over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think AJ again was a victim of the swap and no relationships and everything. Because when it came to his vote, we all kind of settled on him because one, he hadn't been around that long and he didn't talk that much, at least to me, during that time period. And when we kind of those of us that were talking and working together, we saw him as a longer term threat in like challenges and such. So we're like, if we didn't get rid of him pre-merge, and we all kind of felt like that was the point where the merge was going to happen. You know, all this stupid fucking One World stuff that came next. But like we all thought the merge was coming, and we all saw like AJ as like he could have been a threat in challenges. So we were like, okay, if we don't get rid of him now, I think it'll be harder to get rid of him later.
I feel like for all of AJ leaving was probably the best thing at the day, because I do feel like he would have been a very high contender for winning the game. So
yeah, I definitely wanted to get the chance.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Like, I loved his leaked confessional.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I really wanted to get to know him better, but it was just like the matter of circumstances. But yeah, I think he had the best like leaked confessional out of everybody from the Dare challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He was like, she was just trashing Jill. Yeah, because we were talking that day, and he was just, I just trashed Jill in my first confessional. There's nothing confidential in there, so I can like publicize it.
Funny. All right, next we have Jezzy. Woo!
Queen.
Jezzy. When we were like swapped, when we were on the swap tribe, I instantly connected with Jezzy just because she's a mom, and then we're like both females, and I do feel that like long term I could like trust her, just because she was very willing to give up Callum, like, because like who doesn't want to give up Callum if he's that inactive, right? So I mean, with that, like, we already established an alliance, and it's such a bummer because that time when she was swapped again, like, that's the time that we can already like call, because she has stuff going on like that day, and by the time that we are ready to like call, that's the time that she was swapped again. Like, how much of a bummer that is. So yeah, I do think that if Jezzy is here, like, she would be like the connector to to other people who she has been. I mean, she would have been like my connector to the other people she has played with pre-merge, just because I don't have that much connection, and I do think that she knows those people like outside my alliance well enough. I mean, that could have been a greater option, like, for me. I do think so.
Yeah. I think this is a whole other game if Jezzy stays.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Jezzy and I had a final deal on like day 3.
Oh, wow.
So Jezzy and I, like, we were very excited for the opportunity to play with each other, because we had played 2 different seasons of Coast to Coast together. I played one, and then she played the one after, and she watched my season and I watched hers, and we were both excited to be together on this game. And we were like, we made a final agreement on the 3rd day of the game. If she had not left I think that her leaving the game is really the thing that probably one of the things that hurt me the most out of this, not just game, but personally too, because I was so sad, really, really sad to see her go. I'm glad that she's okay and everything, and she and I have chatted, like I said, afterwards and everything. She's a fantastic, and I hope that we get to play again at some point.
Yeah.
But if this would have been a very, very different game if Jezzy had stayed, because I think that like the Ben and Lisa votes may have been different if she was still in it.
And we would have, I mean, we merged 4-4-4, and so all things considered, like the first vote, if Jesse was here with 12, who knows if Ben's 6-5 vote would have been a 6-6 vote at 12.
Yeah.
So yeah. It would have changed so much. I don't know what, I mean, I'm assuming it would have been a 6-6, so that would have been definitely interesting to see.
Oh,
absolutely.
That would have been a mess.
Yeah, and I literally only got to meet Jezzy for like one night. As much as like her and I both swapped around, we just both weren't ever on the same tribe together until One World, and so it was really weird to basically seem like I met everybody except for her, because it was like that was the only person I didn't get to, and it was like, oh, finally. And I was like, do you want to go on a call and like talk? And then next thing I knew, she was like leaving. So I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're on the jury.
Now we're on to the jury.
We are. The next person is Ben.
Aw, Ben.
Aw.
My Ben.
He was very, very sweet, except he did leak some information, and it almost came back to me instantly because I told him some stuff about the Cody vote that happened previously, and we all had Cody thinking that was a unanimous vote, whatever. I don't know why he believed it, but he did. So, and then immediately after I told Ben that it wasn't a unanimous vote, Cody runs to me about 5 minutes later and is like, the vote wasn't unanimous, and I'm like, dang it, Ben.
I know. That was such a stupid move on his part.
And so
I actually really wanted to work with Ben if there was
Yeah.
that opportunity, but I
yeah,
don't think it, like, just the way that the game is going, I don't really think it presented itself, unfortunately. But I appreciate that I think he's the only juror that has come to, like, majority of the confession of, like, our tribal councils, even though I think he's only come to, like, 2. I think that's more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I appreciate that he comes in and he listens, and, you know, he even gives, like, his facial expressions and stuff like that. So to see that he's still an involved person in the game afterwards is
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Ben was somebody I got really close to. Just before he went, literally before he went out, he had his senior recital at school, and like I was supposed to get a freaking link to it so I could watch it, and of course that didn't happen because I haven't been able to talk to him since. But super sweet. I mean, he and I talked a lot too because he hadn't played in Oregon like 5 years.
Wow.
So he had been out of it for a while, and we talked a little bit about like strategy and games, and like he and Christian and I became pretty close. Because same thing. Ben was with me and Christian right up until he got voted out. So he would have been another one that we would have been together the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, Ben. Like, I do think that outside this game we would have been close, but it's just like when we merge, like he's the person that I haven't like interacted with, because I know Michael and Christian from, like
From Conflict.
another game. Yeah, from Conflict, and like among the people who I haven't played with, like pre-merge, like Ben is the most viable option, like for me to eliminate. Like that's just it. But I do think that our conversations are okay, and yeah, I do see myself like talking to him like outside this game, but it's just like game wise, I need to align with people who I already know, and who I know where they are going. So yeah.
Next up is Queen Lisa.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Lisa's round was really unfortunate because, to be honest, she was like not really even considered, and then the 6 others there kind of came together, and we were a little bit paranoid about where the idol was, and so that round was essentially what our group talked about, was flushing Cody's idol, but also making sure that someone in that
No one of us goes home.
And we wanted to make sure that the idol was not played. We wanted to vote out the person who was least likely to get an idol played on them. And so as a group, we decided that Lisa was probably the best choice for that. And
which I hated, but I also recognize just again, with the conversations that happened today, I was like, well, we got to do something, and I think that makes the most sense. But my conversations with Lisa were awesome. Like, I really enjoyed like getting to know her. Like, I believe she lives in Brooklyn right now, but she loves Staten Island, and we talked about that. So it was really good. I loved getting to know Lisa, and I wish that there was in another universe an opportunity for me and Lisa to like really, really work together. I wish I wasn't meeting her for the first time at the merge.
Yeah, I do think that if um, Lisa's boot is just, she's just, like a victim of circumstance, and that vote was like driven by the fear of every one of us like being idled out, and
Mhm.
she was just the most, the option that really like makes sense. And I hate that because like I told Lisa that we got each other, but then like that round, like I really knew that number one, she's not gonna be like my number, and number two, like no matter what happens, like she's gonna be, a number for other people, and that's the time that I get to like decide that I want to, get her out of this game. But like game wise, I do think that she has like a lot of wisdom, like that she has like shared with me, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if Lisa have like gotten, very far, I do think that it's gonna be like a different game in terms of like I will be scoring up for numbers like instead of it being presented to me.
Yeah, no, Lisa's super cool. I adore her. This is my second game with her. And in the first game, we talked, but we weren't necessarily on the same page for that game, but we still got the chance. We played in the social series together. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
she was super cool to get to know, and I was so happy to get to know her better this time, and like that we already had a foundation of knowing each other a little bit. And like so respect her and everything that she does, and I think that she's no holds barred when you talk to her, which I love about her. She is New York blunt, like there is no tomorrow, and I love that about her. It's like you're
Yeah,
always going to know where you were always going to know where you stand with Lisa.
yeah. I think I never went to a tribal before. I mean, besides the Seanville, but Lisa definitely gave or Ben's too, but Lisa definitely gave a little bit of a blunt message to Phil on her way out. So, so that was pretty great. All right, our next person is Warren.
Warren, oh,
Ah,
Miss you already.
oh
miss you
Warren.
already, Warren. I never expected that Warren and I will be close, like from the get go. I do think that, like on pre-merge, I think that I'm gonna be much closer to AJ. But then, as like the time goes by, I found myself like closer to him, just because I do think that we do share the same sense of humor, and like we talk to each other very often, and we do have a final three deal with Phil. So like from the very start of the merge, like we established ourselves like to be, like the middle and all. But when like Warren got eliminated, that's the only time that like I told myself that yeah, I'm like getting out of options. And when Phil, like when I had no choice but to eliminate Phil, that's the only time that I told myself that maybe like it's fate that those two are in the jury, just so like I can differentiate myself amongst them. Yeah, but like when Warren got eliminated, that's the time that I told myself that I will be like sticking to my OGs, you know, because I do think that sticking with them, like I have the greatest chance of winning, but then sticking to my OGs, like we have like the equal chance of winning. So yeah, and I do think that if Warren like have stayed longer than he were, like I do think that he could have been my shield, and he could always be eliminated before me. So like I do think that. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or like a bad thing, but yeah, I miss him already. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I loved talking to Warren. Warren was so good. And I think that's where, for me, I was like, I think you're actually too good.
Yeah.
And I think this is a problem that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And, I I think if Warren doesn't go when he goes, I don't know if there's another time to take him out. I think he was so good socially at the game where I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I think this is the time, you know? Like, if I want to win, this has to be the moment, you know?
Yeah.
But I love getting to know Warren, and I feel so bad that Warren wasn't even there. So we don't even have like a goodbye or like how he felt or anything on those terms. So I'm curious at the finale, what he's gonna be like.
Yeah, Warren always wanted me to smoke a joint with him on call, but I was like, Warren, I can't do that in my apartment. And he was always wanting me to with him. He was just like here, like lighting up, and he's like, go get your joint, go get your joints. And I was like, do it in my apartment. And then he would be like, fine. But no, I agree with what Malcolm said. He was definitely someone where it's like, I didn't even know where he really was in the sense of like where he would leave. And I knew if I sat next to him, he just had a phenomenal social game. And I was like, he has to leave eventually, but when? And so when he was blindsided, it was sweet for me. Like,
And he blocked Phil. I was like, what?
yeah.
Yeah, because the moment that Warren got eliminated, the morning like after that, I mean morning your time, Phil was like, Karen, like he blocked me. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
I hope he's been unblocked.
Oh, yeah.
But Phil even said at like the tribal council, he was like, Warren, I didn't do it, I promise. And Robbie was like, Phil, allowed to talk to the jurors.
Yeah.
For me, like I had like 2 calls with Warren, but we chatted a bit, and I loved because it was like he was always super high every time we chatted, and it was just it was great. But and in the end, for me, like I think Warren was a great guy, but we didn't have such a positive last conversation before he went.
Ooh, not us wrapping it up.
Well, we got people to go. Tell him we got people to go.
And we turn. Yeah, I don't know. We can probably. Yeah.
We'll do it in 2 parts then.
Yeah, we just would have 4 more after this.
Maybe I'll add. So like we have 4 more people left.
But Warren basically like came for me that before that vote. He was like, he was just.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. He was telling me that he was going to tell you directly that he was voting you out. I was like, you might as well go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, but he was super like coming for me and just being very aggressive about it. With at least from my point of view.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if that's the way you want to be, I have no problem writing your name down then.
Exactly.
And then that led to later, but Phil came for me after the Warren vote. Like,
yep.
Phil got super aggressive with me about the Warren vote, and I'm like, okay.
What could you have done otherwise?
Yeah,
that's funny. Our next person is Travis. So if it was probably one of the sneakiest rounds I had to play with Travis's vote out, just because I wanted to make sure that my like OG alliance was safe, but I also wanted to make sure that it was Travis ended up leaving at the end of the day, just because I felt like if Travis was here as a 4th, he would be a huge contender to win. I mean, he had a successful idol play. I was 99% sure he had another idol in his pocket, which would have meant probably another successful idol play. Everyone seemed to like him, and I know that this was probably not a Final 4 game. I wish it was, because then we'd all be there, but I knew that Travis, that was the only time to take the shot at him, and so, yeah. But he was a great guy. I really liked talking to him, and he was very sweet.
Yeah, Travis is super cool. I think he's a great guy because we literally played back-to-back games and they overlapped where we were both in the same game at the same time. We were in this and we were in Paranoia together. And in the end, like I really loved just like chatting with him when we did. But for me, it was he was exhibiting the same behaviors in this game that he did in Paranoia, and he sent me home in Paranoia. So I was like, I'm just getting PTSD moments right now, and that's why like I had to like work to get Travis out that round.
Exactly.
Yeah, Travis was my guy. Like, I thought we really worked well together. but I was taken back. I was
And we
like,
have
oh,
a
shit,
final
here we go.
and we have a final 3 deal with Travis. All the deals.
All the deals. All the
All
deals.
the deals are coming to me. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, because I knew that if I keep Travis, like the moment he loses immunity, like people will gonna like dump him out, like first than me. And that's like my goal. Like to keep people who will be eliminated like first before me. But then, like when I was blindsided during the Travis boot, I was like, yeah, like maybe fuck it. He could have won this game, so maybe that's like that's the most logical thing to do. But yeah, like game wise, I do think that Travis would have stuck with me, like and you, Malcolm, till the end.
That's why Dustin was like, you gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I need that spot, not you, Travis.
Well, I guess we should probably stop now.
Yeah, and we can do the last.
We'll do the last 3 after the challenge. You guys want
Okay.
to?
No, it's okay. Like it's just 1 minute. Let's just continue. Like
Okay.
they will
No,
not
right.
die waiting
Okay.
they will not die waiting in the Zoom call.
All right. Our next person is Christian.
Christian. Michael, don't cry.
I'm tearing up over here.
As Cody was probably told you, Michael, was that it was actually supposed to be Cody that round, but things happened and everything, and so Christian ended up leaving, and yeah, that was kind of a last minute call. So, but he was a great guy. Him and I definitely had our ups and downs. I don't know if he was my most up and down person I've played with this season, but he definitely was probably one of the top contenders. But he is a great guy, and he is very sweet. And Malcolm makes a damn good impression out of Christian.
Christian was my ride or die. This was our 3rd game together.
He was?
And
Was he really?
what? Yeah.
Your ride or die.
He was my ride or die.
I had no idea.
I know, exactly. Isn't it? I know. Everyone's surprised by that. But no, he was like, I probably talked to him more. Obviously talked to him more than anybody else, even more than Cody, and like the calls that we all had together. But like Christian is a really like amazing human being. Like we talked about like life and everything like that. So I like that's the one thing I kicked myself about is like I was so convinced that it wasn't going to be that it, but anyhow, I should have used my idol on him. That would have been, I think, the move to make. Really.
I don't think so, but that's fine.
But yeah, no, that was. It is what it is. Couldn't change that. I love that guy. He's an amazing human being, and I hope we get to play again together and go just as far.
Great guy.
Yeah, no, love Christian, very, very nice guy. I think it was just one of those unfortunate timings where we just really weren't voting together, and at that point, it was either me or him. So I'm happy it was him, but I'm still good.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to talk much to Christian just because I do think that like talking to Michael is enough to know where he's going. So I'm like, okay, like if I talk to Michael, I know now where Christian is going. But like, yeah, I think that voting Christian out was a smart move because I do think that it gives me like an option to work with Michael, which didn't happen.
Nope.
Which didn't happen, like obviously, because Cody is
and I don't
still
think
here.
that, like, not to interrupt you, but I don't really think that was an option anyway. Like, I don't think that if Christian, that nobody was really going to work with me. So
Yeah, but yeah, I do think that Christian being a jury would be much of like an Eliza because we all know how he is. He's funny and he's always like he has a bit of sass in him.
A bit,
So
yeah.
yeah, a bit, a bit. Yeah. I always find him funny. I don't know why. But yeah. It's great for my game that he's like voted out.
All right.
Okay.
Next, we have
Ah,
Phil.
So,
No! Ah!
I was crushed. I
Me
did
too.
not want to do Phil.
Yeah.
Phil's round
Phil
one.
should have been in. Phil should be in Pro Survivor Heroes versus Villains as a hero.
Mhm.
as a hero.
As the biggest villain of the game. Just kidding.
Oh.
But yeah, Phil was great. It was, I don't even know. Phil's a character. Phil's awesome.
Probably the nicest person amongst all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Phil was
If
very.
if he doesn't get nicest player or hero of the game, I'm like, I don't know who does.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, Phil's a great person. It was just the way that we were all very confident that you had the idol, Michael,
Oh,
and then Cody won immunity, and it was literally just the worst case scenario for just how the vote was going that round, and there was nothing to do besides tell Phil that we're going to try to convince you to play the idol on someone else, but obviously we knew that wasn't going to probably happen, so we had to decide on Phil. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was
Phil.
hard for you guys.
Yeah. When Warren was gone, like Phil is like Phil and I got like closer, and I always say that we must vote together and we must vote together. But then, like when we already knew that Michael got an idol and then Cody win immunity, I do think that it crushed me and it hurts me to like vote him out just because
Yeah.
I do think that he doesn't deserve to go out that way. You know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And last but not
Last
least,
but not least,
Uh-oh.
Cody.
The
Cody.
man with 9 lives.
Yeah,
I know.
he got by either by immunity wins or just by technicalities of the game or just by he let me tell you the amount of lives this guy had, but somehow him and I were able to work together for a round during the Travis vote, and
Yeah.
The reason why I'm still here.
It's because of Cody.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, yep. So, because Cody's flip. Yeah, the reason why a lot of us can say that we're still here is because Cody flipped so that there was no rocks. But at the end of the day, I think we all know, like, I mean, he's already won this series before, and while it's a mini, it's still Pro Survivor.
It's still a win.
It's
Right.
still
And I had that conversation with you too. It's like Cody was not going to make it to the end as far as I was concerned.
yeah. There was just no way of. I don't think anybody would have. I mean, he had it really all. He was very strategic, very social, and he had his little challenge computer set up that I don't even want to know how much it costs. And
Oh yeah. No, exactly.
so,
But Cody was a great guy. I really loved I got to know him better. I
Yeah.
played the mini with him, but it was nicer to get to know him more this time, and like just not game, but personally too, and everything. So, but yeah, he is a super player, super nice guy, really amazing. But yeah, I wasn't about to let him into the end either.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Cody is straight, like
if
Although
Cody
Cody
was,
might have
know.
something to say about that.
would you say if Cody was
yeah.
straight?
I mean, if Cody is straight and if I knew that he's straight, like I would have hit on him. But like, yeah, he's not. So that's fine. And I do think that I will miss the dad jokes just because like he has the most, iconic dad jokes here in the season.
I definitely think at the reunion we should all play a game of Jackbox with everyone back.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that would be fun. Absolutely.
I told Cody, like, you know what, like, no matter what will happen in this game, like, I will still talk to you, like, outside it, and I'm pretty, like, certain about that. Just
Yeah.
because whenever, when people play a game, like okay, we play a game, and then we stop communicating, and when people like see you in another game, they will root for you and all. Then that's it. Like I told him that no, I do think that we'll still play Jackbox, and and we will play Mario Kart if you want.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
just
would
because
be
I
very
do
fun.
think that I do think that Cody and I like play, the same shit ass games. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sweet. Well, this wraps up the. What does
Rites
anyone
of
have?
passage.
Rites of passage.
Rites of passage.
Okay, let's jump on the Zoom. Okay, I'm going to stop recording and then let's jump on the Zoom before they start yelling at us.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good luck.